Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Yola Jacobson, and I'm the manager of the Natspec Transform CPD service. And I'm very pleased to welcome you to today's webinar, which is one of a series that features the award winners of this year's Natspec Awards. Today's webinar is going to be given by Steve Hogarth, who is Careers Education, Information, Advice and Guidance and Employment Lead at Leap College. So delighted to welcome Steve along today. Just before I hand over to Steve, who's going to be talking about their work around peer support and supporting young people in their career choices, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the Transform service this term. So the next lot of webinars are coming up in this series. The next one will be the Wellbeing and Mental Health Award winner, which was Eat That Frog, and their webinar is going to be on 20th of October. Followed by the Interdisciplinary Working Award from Good Practice at Portland College. And then in December, on December the 1st, the Cross College Forum for Learners with Complex Disabilities was winner of the Student Voice Award. And we will have a colleague from Sense College talking about their award-winning practice. Now, as most of you may know, all of our training at Natspec has been online because of the pandemic. And this is the range of training that we offer. We have 4 RAPA modules. We have supported internship modules, including our very popular job coach, Introduction to Job Coaching training. We have the Monitoring the Quality of Teaching, Learning Assessment and Support for Learners training. And currently they are all online. Next term, we may be looking at some face-to-face training. Dates coming up are here. I won't go through all of them, but just the highlights are next week. We still have a few places left on our Securing Employer Engagement for Work-Based Learning Programs. And as you'll hear at this webinar, you may well be interested in that because obviously it's continuing the employment theme. Introduction to Job Coaching, November. And then you'll see on the 9th of November, we have session 1 of our Monitoring the Quality of Teaching, Learning, Assessment and Support. The unique thing about this training is that it does focus on the role of support staff as well. And it features some very interesting video of an actual lesson happening. And we can talk about different observation techniques in that training. So it's a 2-session course, first session in November, second session in December. Also, we offer in-house, and currently that could be face-to-face or online. So if you fancy one of those sessions being delivered solely to your team, we may be able to, subject to availability, ask a trainer to come to your college, or they can run it online. We can also offer bespoke versions of that training and consultancy support. So if you're interested in any of that, please contact myself or the Transform email there at the bottom of the page. So just to move on now to today's session, you may notice that there are subtitles on at the bottom of your screen. If you would like to disable those subtitles, you go on to the button on your controls which say CC and it says disable subtitles, and you can turn those off. This session is being recorded because all of our webinars are recorded and then uploaded onto the Natspec YouTube channel. You can see a picture of it there. We've got some really fascinating webinars there from last year's Natspec Award webinars, the winners of those awards. We've got tech ability sessions, so it's well worth having a look at that YouTube channel. If you have questions for Steve at the end of his presentation, there is a question panel. Please type your question in there. And I've also put in chat a link to our annual training survey, which is asking you what CPD opportunities you think Natspec should be offering yourself, your colleges, your colleagues. So it's a chance for you to tell us whether what we're doing is relevant, to give us ideas of new sessions that you think we should be developing. Okay, so that's enough from me. I'm going to stop my screen, sharing my screen now, and hand over to Steve so he can get busy sharing his screen and get on with his really interesting presentation. Welcome to the people that have joined us, and Steve, I'm going to hand over to you now. I'm going to turn off my video and mic, but I am still there in the background. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the introduction, Yola. As Yola said, my name's Steve Hogarth. I work with Julliet Doherty, who's the head of our 14 to 25 learning at Walgrave House School and College. Walgrave House is an autism specialist school comprised of the school, which is for 5 to 16-year-olds, with 2 specialist colleges, Lakeside, 16 to 19, and Leap, 19 to 25. They're split into 3 cohorts, A, B, and C. A follows the mainframe and access to 8G from entry 2 to level 3 curriculum. B follows a mixture of the mainframe and the foundation curriculum, entry 2 to level 2, and C follows the foundation curriculum for entry 1 to entry 2. And we use RAPA as our PFA quality assurance tool. So our learning intention is very much that students will learn about the various routes and pathways into employment. And our success criteria is based on the idea that students can identify different routes into employment. And they can also use their vocational profiles, advice and guidance, which is our internal and external, to assist them to identify options that are available and suitable for them. So why do we allocate so much of our planning and curriculum to employment? Well, we find that experiential work placements provide an opportunity for our young adults with autism to get the real workplace experience and employment skills that can help secure a paid job. The head of Post 16 and myself, we work together and we try to embrace employer engagement contacts to ensure quality work placements are in place, and then we build up a bank of available placements for our students to choose from. If it's a supported internship, then the young person and the job coach work directly with the specific employers in response to the individual student aspirations. We share work placements in post-16 meetings, and that gives us an opportunity for the staff to learn about what all our young people are doing. And also it allows staff to match appropriate students into a range of placements and support them in the workplace. The head of Post 16 and myself, we also offer some autism training, which is mainly through informal discussion with our employers, so that they're well geared up to how our students and how our young people will be able to manage in the work environment. So all of our students complete a vocational profile booklet, and that is a baseline, and it allows all our teachers, TSAs and post-16 management staff to offer the students guidance and information on developing their career aspirations based on the information that we've gathered and, of course, the student voice. There's also a student skills audit, and this matches the student suitability to the individual placement offers. And as I've said before, all of our teachers and staff are able to offer the students guidance and information on developing their career aspirations. But we also have regular tutorials, and student contributions are drawn up for the EHCP reviews, which identify their aspirations. There's also therapy input where necessary, and we also have some impartial careers advisors who work very closely with staff to engage the students and to find out exactly what the students are interested in and what would be a successful work placement and future pathway. But we also get careers advice from our employers in the workplace, and they're quite willing to come on site and give us the opportunity to learn more about what is available at their workplace. Recently, we've started business breakfast with our local employers, and that's a chance for the employers to meet our students and young people, learn about the college, recognise the work that we're doing, and also to try and support us more, whether that's through offering work placements or maybe some local advice on what jobs are available and suitable for our students. We've been very fortunate that Galliford Try have funded our post-16 media group. So they've provided a GoPro 7, and we've set up a media group, and they will be publicising the building projects that Galliford Try are completing in the local area. But also we found that that's been our gateway to placements with Galliford Try. And we've become quite inadvertently through our connections and through with the work that Galliford Try are doing with our students, we've become their chosen charity for the year. But we also have some bespoke training, and that might come from the Mersey Forest in the form of a forestry curriculum that we've developed with them. And also, as we've mentioned before, Galliford Try are quite keen to get our students involved in construction and providing the professionals to support our students developing the area around the college and our new learning facility, which I'll talk a bit about later. One of the important aspects is where we invite our ex-students and to come back and to attend coffee mornings in our Cozy Corner Cafe, which is run solely by our students. And that's an opportunity for the alumni to discuss some of the issues that they may have faced when they've left Wargrave, and some of their success stories as well, which always has a positive influence on our students. So there's a lots of ways that our students can develop their skills for work. And there's a small list here, not an exhaustive list, which looks and identifies at some of those opportunities. And I'm sure that most colleges up and down the country would be involved in careers events, research tasks, employer presentations, site visits, and work placement activities, just to name a few. But to give you some examples of the models that are currently in use at in our post-16 and at Wargrave. We have multiple introductory work placements, and that's where the students spend half a day or they have a single day experience, and we potentially increase the exposure for that student or young person over time, the exposure to the workplace, that is. There are timetabled opportunities also where the students can undertake work placement at an agreed time each week within the college week for a mutually agreed period of time. And then there are introductory day or week-long experience within the workplace, followed by any additional opportunities that arise for that young person. Placements are also taken outside the mainframe curriculum, such as the internship model. All of our students follow a vocational pathway as part of the curriculum offer. Each individual has a work placement or number of placements that are linked directly to their bespoke pathway. For an example, one student who's following the Access to HE Level 3 pathway into education will experience an appropriate placement within an educational cross-phase setting, whilst another student who's following an Open Awards SFLE Entry 3 pathway into horticulture will experience an appropriate pathway with park rangers and develop their understanding about tools and land management. All placements are planned alongside the particular course being studied and other elements of the pathway to enrich the student's overall experience. A placement may require to be of a set duration in order to meet the requirements of a specific qualification. Otherwise, we would always make sure that it takes place at a time and is of a duration that benefits the students. Myself, along with Julliet and the student class teachers, are responsible for organising and managing the placement. And we work closely with the student and the employer in order to identify a suitable opportunity and to prepare the student for that placement. Teachers, TSAs, job coaches, all jointly support the young person during and after the placement, and we use the experience as the basis for further learning and skills development. So another question that people often ask is, how does work experience support improved health and well-being for students? Well, accessing work placements supports our students to plan, make choices and accept change. The work placements are based on student interests first and foremost, their skills, strengths and preferences, and they're all facilitated to make suitable, realistic and informed choices, and we help them set manageable goals and plan for further transitions. What's gained from accessing different careers and occupations for our students with autism? Well, we find that by delivering a range of ways of working and learning and training paths, students quickly begin to gain experience that helps them recognise the relevance of their learning, skills and interests for their own future quality of life. One other important question is, how does work experience help with mental, emotional, social and physical well-being? And we find that through an experiential employability curriculum, students have full access to work placements from a diverse bank of employers. And through this, they value the opportunities they are given to improve and manage their learning. And in turn, we find that this helps to encourage learning and confidence over other curricular and extracurricular areas of their lives. Pathways into employment develop career management skills such as self-awareness. Students develop and maintain a positive self-image, strengths. Students build on their strengths and achievements. They draw on their experiences and on formal and informal learning opportunities in the workplace to inform and support future quality of life choices and employment opportunities. Widening horizons. Students understand that there are a wide variety of learning and work opportunities that they can explore and that are open to them. Their aspirations increase and their understanding of the world around them expands. With employer and community networks, students develop independence and appropriate relationships to secure, create and maintain work placements. They develop and maintain a range of relationships that are important for their future career journey. Through our work placement employability curriculum, students are encouraged to identify the skills they've learned across the curriculum how these relate to the world of work, and ways to apply these appropriately during work placement and other work-related learning opportunities. Staff support students to consistently demonstrate the skills, attributes, and behaviours needed to sustain and progress their career across all aspects of the curriculum. And myself, along with the class teachers and TSAs, we make sure that the students are engaged through tutorials, and we invariably use talking mats for this, so that the students can identify and access support networks that will help them into a positive and sustained destination beyond our college. An example of this can be seen in a former student who we'll call JH, who returned to us as a volunteer TSA. He was supported to access an ILM with his local authority, which meant a paid placement at Wargrave in the post-16 provision. Through mentorship of 2 staff across the 6-month placement, he was able to successfully apply for a part-time permanent job as a TSA in a specialist school. Over and above this, we find that students are taught through on-the-job, real-life work experiences, the rights and responsibilities placed on employers and employees, and how these relate to creating a positive, productive, and sustainable work environment. Preparing the student, we find that the pre-work placement should support, and that include the pre-work placement support should include a checklist for our students, and staff will spend time with the students and highlight the key factors or key points which are mentioned here on this slide. Being friendly and polite, being on time, paying attention in meetings, tidying up after yourself, being prepared, following training and instructions properly. These are all very important skills that some of our students need to develop and progress. And we always instill that they shouldn't be afraid to ask for help, ask questions, and show initiative. So what do we do when the work placement is finished? We always make sure that we thank ourselves and the student or young person, thanks the employer and the work colleagues for the opportunities. And we use our bespoke plan and review sheets to engage the students to reflect on the learning and use the placement experience to support future career decisions and ongoing learning decisions. And then we'll review the vocational profile with the students and make any amendments that are required. Now, the next part of the presentation is just to show you a few slides of some of the work that our students are involved with. This is the Cozy Corner Cafe, and this provides our, this is I'll start again. This is in situ, and it's based in our LEAP provision. And what we do is we provide a coffee mornings where all of the students are involved in running the cafe. And that goes from food preparation, making hot drinks, greeting and meeting any students and visitors, and serving. So they learn about improving their communication, money skills, hospitality and catering. And this is an excellent way that we find where we can invite employers in for a coffee morning, we can raise funds, and we can invite some of our ex-students in who can then come and give a short informal presentation or have a discussion with the students who are currently looking where they need to be after their current placement. On site, we have a college maintenance team, and you can see that one of our team members on the top left is well into painting the gazebo or the summer house at the back of our lakeside garden. And this is a formal method of completing work experience through our estates division. So jobs are specifically allocated and then they're logged, and our students will free up some of the time of our maintenance people and complete that job themselves. But we also have a whole host of other places in the local community that we're able to use. And if you look at the bottom left, you will see that one of our students is learning a bit more about the mower at the local cricket club, who've supported us over the past 5 years or so to develop their grounds and set up a market gardening project where we're trying to grow vegetables for the local food bank. They've built a sensory garden, and they've helped extend the cricket pavilion. And you can see in the bottom middle one of the students who's well averse to using a drill now, thanks to that contact. But we've also got students who are interested in horticulture and taking it that one step further into forestry. And with that in mind, we've become very close to a local landfill, which is now a country park. And you can see that in the top left, Scott the Ranger, who's driving, I must point out, is involved with supporting all of our students in a whole range of activities that helps them not only with their functional maths and English, but also with their employability skills and learning to follow instructions in the workplace. And we've been lucky that we've decided to set up a teaching facility for our post-16 on site. So we don't have to go very far to provide work placement for some of our students. Owen, who's in this photograph on the far left, has said that Scott, our ranger, who has provided all his services free of charge and has become one of the permanent staff in many ways without being paid for the privilege. Owen said that Scott has helped him with his maths and also speaking to people. And that's one of the important things, is the communication for our autistic learners. And you can see that there's a whole host of jobs going on here with Scott, so he gets the students actively involved. William is now, and he's on the bottom left photograph, and he's working at Lyman Wood Country Park, which is the Enivert landfill. And in this photograph, William has decided that he's enjoyed his work placement so much that he would like to take on a supported internship. He's completed that supported internship now, which was at the college, where he worked really closely with the maintenance team. And his quote is that it's helped him to be, well, he actually says, it helped me to become confident and complete jobs like vehicle checks, garden maintenance, how to build bird boxes, fix things, and paint. And he's one of our success stories. Joe is also now on a supported internship at a local hotel. He was given a wide range of placements and job opportunities until he decided what he wanted to do. So these photographs are mainly of Joe, whether he's working in our Cozy Corner Cafe, working at the local cricket club planting bulbs, doing some work around the college grounds, or working on an environmental tidy up on the far right at the local cricket club. And what we found is that Joe said, I've tried lots of jobs and I now want to work in a hotel. So we've got Joe a supported internship at a local hotel, and he'll be starting there in 1 or 2 weeks' time. Nicky's another success story, and he's actually working with the RSPCA now. And thanks to the jobs that he completed, Nicky said, I like working outdoors, but I'm really happy working with the RSPCA. So he's been working with the RSPCA. He started this year, and he does a whole range of outdoor and indoor activities. So I think you can see from those photographs that there are lots of opportunities for our students, but these are only just a few, just the tip of the iceberg, really. So we'll also have enterprise activities on site, which will include car valeting. We'll have students working in local community cafes, and we have 2 placements now with Galliford Try, thanks to the close connections that we've built up with them, where the students will be learning about construction jobs, and that's in addition to the social media group that's been set up. And we also have students who are more interested in working with animals, you know, on the community farms or in dog grooming places as well. So I think we've come to the end now of the talk, and I'd just like to reveal what the impact of this award has been to Wargrave House. It's certainly given us the ability to attract more financial support for the post-16 in-house and externally. It's a lot easier to go to the finance department and ask for PPE and the thousands of pounds that actually costs for staff and students if you've got an award under your belt. So that's definitely been an excellent point of leverage. But also the award gives us the potential to attract new trustees and governors, and they'll bring in their own experience and their own additional funding and placements. And we've managed to bring in 2 governors on the basis of the awards that we've won through Natspec. But also it increases our employability network, as the award is regarded really as a badge of honour, and it's recognised externally as such. And it also mainly gives us the potential to secure work placements through publicity, and as a consequence of that publicity, we've had a lot more students who have taken an interest in the post-16 facility. I hope that presentation was useful, and I apologise for the slight interruption, whether it was by an individual or by telephone. And if you'd like to get in touch with us at Wargrave, it's probably best emailing Julliet Doherty at wargravehouse.com, or ringing the telephone number that's provided, and I will be able to give you any feedback. And I'll start again. I'll be able to answer any questions, and if you could offer any feedback in ways that which you think we can improve our pathways to employment, then contact Julliet or myself at Wargrave. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Yola.
Thank you so much, Steve, for that really comprehensive presentation. And it was great to hear at the end how the award has enabled you to move forward, and the impact that has had on the development of your programme. For those of you who are listening, I just wanted to let you know at this point, if you have any questions, could you type them in the question and answer panel, which will be on your controls. They'll either be at the top or the bottom of the screen. And just to give you a few minutes to collect your thoughts about that, look out for the launch of the 2022 Natspec Awards, which will be happening soon. Keep an eye out on the Natspec website, and also every fortnight we send out an email briefing to all members of Natspec, all organisations that are members of Natspec. So if you're not on that list, you're not actually individually receiving that, let us know and we can make sure we put your name on that list. Or if you find out from your college who is receiving it, and they can forward it to. But we will be launching the Natspec 2022 awards shortly. Just had a few questions myself for you, Steve, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, just if anyone would like to put questions in the panel, I'll be monitoring that. I was really interested to hear about the former learner that's come back and now has a job as a TSA. Where exactly is that learner working, and does that, was it a young man, I think? Yes.
It's a young man who's secured that employment. It is full-time. It is a full-time job with a contract with the college or school where he's working, and that's for 2 days a week, which ties in with his timetable anyway, and what he wants to do. So that's been a success story, really, for that young man.
And is he still receiving some sort of job coaching support independent of Leap Wargrave, or is he on his own there working independently?
No, he's on his own working independently. So he's done incredibly well for himself to come through the school and the college, and then to move on and to come back and to find employment as a consequence of that.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. It's a brilliant success story for him.
It is indeed. It's indeed. And just focusing back on the careers advice, you mentioned that you build it into the curriculum as you go along, very much skills for young people to make decisions about their careers in the future, obviously based on their interests and their aspirations. But you mentioned an external careers input. Could you say which organisation that is and how that works?
Yeah, well, we have used Career Connect, and we would work closely with Career Connect, and they would conduct interviews with our students. And during COVID, that would be remotely on Teams. And the idea is really so that they would get impartial advice from somebody that was working outside the organisation, and that was successful for those students who had some idea of what they wanted to do, and it's been useful in making sure that our students recognise that their decisions need to be realistic. So if they want to go down a chosen path, then we can have an impartial advisor will tell them what that pathway entails, and then maybe we can actually look at something else if it's not suitable. So in other words, it's working very closely with the careers advisor, and they're actually having that communication with somebody other than the individuals that they know very well within the college environment. With our employers and with our governors, we would like to extend that careers advice as well through our business breakfasts, and so that the employers can come in and provide an insight into some of the jobs that our students would be suitable for. One thing that we do notice, Yola, is that some of our students really don't know where they want to be in a couple of years' time, and that's why it's important that we give them an opportunity to try lots of a variety of different work placements. But ultimately, we need to listen to the student voice as well.
Yes, and you gave some nice examples how some students had been very much working outdoors. There was one young man, but then he was working out the RSPCA and he changed his mind. And yes, you don't know what's available, don't know what it's like in reality until you've had a chance to try these things out. It's kind of obvious, but it's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, and not only that, but although he's working indoors, he's used some of the skills that he's picked up through the horticultural side, maintaining the grounds of the RSPCA place where he's working as well. So, you know, he feels useful in the sense that he can provide other skills than what he's actually there to, you know, to experience for his supported internship.
Yeah, that came over really nicely in those case studies that you gave. I had one more question. I was really interested to hear how you'd got some new governors engaged.
Right.
And how do you target who you would like to be governors, and how do you get them so involved in supporting your work?
I think that comes up from spending a long time with the individuals and the employee in the work placement context, building up a level of trust. And I think sometimes there is some reticence to providing work placements for our autistic learners. But what we find is that when we actually get placements, the employers are bowled over and the workforce. And then we tend to build up a really good professional relationship. And after 6 months or a year or so, we find that a lot of our employers want to become more involved, whether that's providing funding through, which they've got access to, or whether they actually want to put something into the college. And so our governors, really, our latest two governors, are people that we've known for a number of years, recognise the importance of the work that we're doing with our students and young people, and really want to take it to the next level and become more involved. And the support we've had, I think it's just a natural progression, if I'm really honest, and without putting any undue pressure on people. It's more about selling ourselves, really, and just showing what our students and young people are capable of. I don't think there's any magic formula other than hard work.
Yes, in the importance of time and care taken in developing those relationships is obviously paying dividends now, which is great to hear. And then I just had one more question. We haven't had any questions in the panel. I think you stunned people with your comprehensive presentation, but you mentioned when we did a prep session for this last week, and you mentioned in that and about the skills audit that you do with students as part of the preparation for the course. Can you say a little bit more about how you do that? Sorry, what was you said skills audit, and how you get the students involved? Because I was really interested in that.
To be perfectly honest, that comes on the back of the vocational profile. So the vocational profile, that allows us to collect information on, that's extremely useful in what that young person wants, or what their strengths are, what areas they think they need to develop, the areas that they would like to, the placements that they would like to try. And what we do is we allow the young person to say what their expertise is. And we do that through giving them an opportunity to go out and do some, whether it's construction work, horticulture, working in the cafe, and very quickly they'll recognise what they're good at, and what areas they want to develop. So we will use that in our skills audit, and we will identify those skills and abilities that individual students have and look for potential placements. So rather than pigeonholing the students into one particular area because we've got a contact somewhere, we very much like to make sure that we listen to the student voice, recognize what their skills and abilities are, and give them the right level of challenge as well. And so we've got a skills audit that runs from, you know, from age 14 to 25. And that is the basis of us finding the work placement as well, notwithstanding the fact that there might be some skills that we haven't tapped into yet. Having said that, although we've got a wealth of contacts, it still can be quite a logistical nightmare, finding work placements that tie in with the staffing and with the curriculum and the timetables. So having said that, once we've taken everything into account, we've got the vocational profile, the skills audit, we've got the contributions to the EHCP reviews. We take all this information on board, the feedback, evaluations that the students give on their placements and their accredited learning, how that links in with the pathway. And then we decide on, you know, a placement, and we put that to the student and see whether or not they actually like that placement. It might well be that Tesco seems like a good idea, and when the student gets there after 3 days, they really don't want to be there anymore, and we would listen to them, and move on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your really comprehensive answers. I don't think we've got any further questions, so unless anyone has got a last minute question they want to ask Steve, I am going to suggest that we finish the webinar now. We close it because it's lunchtime, and I know people probably have to rush off and teach or go and support somebody on work experience, who knows. So I'm going to just thank you, Steve, for your presentation, and once again, you know, congratulations on winning the award. I'm so glad that it's supporting the provision to develop even stronger links to, you know, to get access to different support, whether it be funding or whether to get people interested. That's really encouraging. Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. And goodbye everyone, and thanks for coming to the webinar. I'm going to close the session now. Good afternoon.